Hola mi gente, MsMalcolmHughes here. Welcome back. Today I'm coming to read a book that I don't remember if I told you all I was reading or not. But we're here and we're reading it and it's Women's History Month. So let's get into this historical classic. And it is The Color Purple by none other than Miss Alice Walker. Most, if not all of you, probably have read this book, at least seen the movie or heard about it. But in case you haven't, I'm still going to read the synopsis. It's actually quite short. The Color Purple is the story of two sisters, one a missionary to Africa and the other a child wife living in the South, who remain loyal to one another across time, distance, and silence. Beautifully imagined and deeply compassionate, this classic of American literature is rich with passion, pain, inspiration, and an indomitable love of life. And that's what it says. That is great, but an understatement, if I must. So, indeed, The Color Purple is the story of two sisters, Celie and Nettie. And like the story says, they start off together, or the synopsis says, they start off together, their lives go in very different directions. And we do get that story of Celie, who unfortunately has been raped and abused for most of her life, forced into this horrible marriage, and she stays in the South. She raises the children of her husband. Her own children have been taken away from her. She has no idea if they're dead or alive. So dealing with that pain. Then we have her sister Nettie. Her sister Nettie is another thing that is taken away from her. Her sister Nettie comes to live with her for a bit, but because her husband has a thing for Nettie and tries to rape her, she has to flee. I'm telling y'all a lot, but even though I'm telling y'all a lot, I'm not telling y'all everything. So her sister has to flee, has to make her way. A significant period of time goes on, passes, and they don't communicate with each other. But eventually they do find a means of communicating with each other without actually knowing if it's going through. And what I mean by that is getting into how this book is written. So this book is written in the epistolary style. And what that means is it's written in the form of letters. I would say that that works best for this book because it allows for so much to happen without us having all the full details. Like if you were writing a letter to your friend or a pen pal or anyone, you are capturing significant moments, right, as time passes. The person will not get every detail of your life, but they will get the highlights, right? They will get the significant pieces that you want to share, and that helps this book transition throughout a significant period of time seamlessly. Also, another thing about that style of writing with the letters is that it's kind of like a journal entry in a sense. So she starts off writing letters to God, dear God, right? And eventually over time that changes. And this is actually really significant because as the writing or as the person she's writing to changes, so does her understanding of the divine. And that's written in a subtle way, but it's there for you to catch it. And I also think that that probably represents the author's understanding of the divine as well. And we do get into that a bit. But it starts off with dear God, right? And at one point it's dear trees, dear air, dear everything, right? And she's also writing to her sister at one point, dear Nettie, dear Nettie. So all of this is descriptive of how she understands God, she understands herself, she understands that connection over time. And I think that's beautiful. I think one thing I will say about this book as I continue to unpack it is that it's both brilliant and devastating. And you notice that immediately. It opens up in that way, especially with the opening of, you better not never tell nobody but God, it would kill your mama. What? Just that in itself is heavy. You better not never tell nobody but God, it would kill your mama. I'm sorry, I get chills just saying it and remembering it. But so much is packed in that. One, we immediately are made aware of the manipulation that is happening to Celie, right? The misunderstanding of what she sees and knows, or that doubt. I guess the seeds of mistrust is what I want to say. The seeds of mistrust that are being planted because this horrific thing is happening to her. But she's already been told it would kill your mama. So what do you do with that? Right? Like, you know that this thing is wrong, but you also know to speak it would be dreadful and potentially have catastrophic results. But then to have those moments where you wonder, does she know? Does she know what's happening? She has to know, right? It's just so much layered there that continues throughout the book for Celie. That idea of what you know and hold to be true, and what can be said. So much of Celie's life is forced silence. She holds so much inside because she's had to. And people think she's dumb or dense, but she's super reflective. She sees everything. And I would say that's a big thing about this book. The characters, obviously, the women characters most specifically, the male characters as well, with Mr. or Albert being the main one. But what I love about this book is that you have so many women characters and you get to see them in their fullness, right? Celie, we get to see her transform over time. Also Sophia, Miss Sophia is a strong character. And it's so we get to see these women characters, we get to see them navigate through the world and how the world treats and interacts with them. For instance, you have a character like Sophia who is just strong. She says she comes from a lineage of strong women, but also she's had to be strong, right? She says it well, and Miss Celie knows it for a fact, right? A girl child ain't safe in a house full of men. So she's had to defend herself. She's had to be strong. And we see how the world responds to that strength in a black woman. And Sophia is just a devastating, heartbreaking character. And it reminds me of a quote. And the quote goes, "The world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong at the broken places. But those that will not break, it kills. It kills the very good and the very gentle and the very brave impartially. If you are none of these, you can be sure it will kill you too. But there will be no special hurry." And that's actually from Ernest Hemingway in A Farewell to Arms. But that for me just so specifically captures Sophia. She is strong. And they wanted to break her, and they wouldn't stop until they broke her. But she still finds that strength within herself. So many good characters. Another good character, another strong woman character is Squeak. And Squeak comes across as timid and shy, and she doesn't really use her voice, but this horrid thing happens to her when she goes out to try to help Sophia, to try to plead. But then after that, she finds her voice. And at one point in time, she loses her way. But in what they thought would break her, she found a knowingness of herself that sees her through. Also, we have Shug Avery. Come on now. Shug Avery. Y'all know I love women characters who live life on their own terms, and that is Shug. Shug is going to live life on her terms. She don't care how you feel about it. She don't care how your mama feel about it. She don't care how her mama feel about it. Shug is gonna live life on her terms, for better or for worse. And there's actually a song by Mooney Long. It's Good Girl Gone Bad. Good Girl Turned Bad, or Good Girl Gone Bad, something like that. That just reminds me of Shug Avery. So you can check that out. But Shug Avery is a very charismatic character, someone you can immediately get invested in. You know, she starts off a little problematic. And maybe she stays problematic all the way through. But she stays true to her. And I actually, more so than the movie, I think the stage play, the soundtrack to the stage play, does a really good job of capturing Suge, and especially her relationship with Miss Celie. There's a song, the intro even to the song, before the song, but it's I'm here, or I'm here. I just think that exchange between Celie and Suge of, but this is what you promised, and Suge being so aware of who she is when she's saying, I need this, right? I'm too weak of a woman not to. But I think that Suge Avery is anything but. I think she's strong. I think she's brave. I think she lives life on her own terms. And the way that Alice Walker has written her, it's not in the same way as Sophia, right? If we look at all the different women in this book, they're all strong in different ways, right? Celie was strong that she could endure, right, in silence and see that through, and a lot of people couldn't. A lot of people would have broke, right? So that's a different strength. It's a silent strength, right? Squeak is strong in the sense that when the toughest thing that she could have gone through was exposed to break her, she then found her voice and found her way and could stand on her own. I think that Sophia, whew, strong because she had to, well, naturally strong, but stronger because she had to be. And then the strength to endure when everything that you stand on, everything that you stand on is, you're going against that right now just to survive, and having to make your way through that, right? And when it's all said and done, still being of same mind and can still laugh and show up, but God, right? So, and then you have a woman like Suge Avery, who seemingly started off as tender and a girl in love, right? Jay-Z raps, they say you can't turn a bad girl good, but once a good girl's gone bad, she's gone forever. I wouldn't say that, but I would say that, not per se, right, like in real life, but I would say that even though Suge has gone on and lived life on her own terms, I would say by force, I think she would smile when it's all said and done and said she did it her way. Yeah, a different type of strength. Also Nettie, oh, Nettie, again, this is a different type of strength. So Nettie endures so much. Nettie carries a flame, right? Even though she hasn't spoken to her sister, she doesn't even know if the letters she's writing to her sister are getting to her, and for many years they are not. But she keeps that torch burning. I would say that Nettie is the light keeper. She carries that light, and she stokes that flame to see it through and to see it home, and that's a different type of strength. So I love that for Nettie as well. I also loved the time that they spent in Africa. I think that the movie does a grave disservice to that, actually. I think so much is covered in the book about the time spent in Africa. And this book isn't like a very long book, right? But there's so much here. I think about colonization, right? I think about trust. I think about the African diaspora and Pan-Africanism and what that means for us, how we see ourselves and how we see each other, right? I think so much is there that we do not see unpacked in the movie. And this wasn't a comparison, but it naturally, because I think the movie is so popular and they're getting ready to do a remake. But the book, there's so much in the book. And I know it's been said that Alice Walker doesn't necessarily care for the movie, and once you read the book, you're like, I see why. And I read it years ago, but to reread it, I think as we grow, literature grows with us, or as we evolve, we can have a deeper understanding of the work. I see why she was frustrated. So much is left out, so much has changed. Also, did you know that this is a trilogy? There's 2 more books to this. I'm gonna read them. So, and the movie stops with this. So much is left out. But I would say that this book covers so much. Like I said, you get cultural critiques and analysis. You get discussion of religion and how that changes over time and the understanding of the divine. You get powerful and strong women in so many different forms. You get the discussion of ebonics and language and intellect. Because how you think someone speaks and their mental ability are not the same. You have also topics of rape and incest, the desires of men, racism, oppression, and secrets, and what all of it does to not only the person it's happening to, not only to the host, but to everyone around them. This story, for so many black women specifically, like, or you could just say in general, right? This is a literary classic. But for black women specifically, this work this work captures so much and is meant so much. Like I heard a talk with authors, and they were talking about how the first time they interacted with this book or encountered this book, the grandmother kept it on the shelf with a Bible, and that's just what it meant, right? So it holds a certain place in black households with black women, as it should. This work is brilliant. This work is bomb. This work is, you'd be hard pressed to find something wrong with it. You really would. She does such a great job. The style of writing, all what's covered, to string it all together over such an expanse of time, so many different characters, and you don't feel slighted by any of them. I haven't even really touched on Albert as well, to see his transition over time and to go from this like horrible man, this deplorable man, and to see him acknowledge that over time, and to see karma work over time, and to see ownership work over time. But hey, that don't happen for everybody, right? Like Celie's stepdaddy, Celie's pa, and so everybody doesn't reach the same place of awareness and light. But to see so many different characters in their journeys, this book is the one. Like, you know, this is one of those. So if you should read it now, when you have time, or if you want to, drop what you're doing and read it now. Right now. It's one of those. It's that good. It's worth it, and I can't say it enough. Y'all, that's it for me. I love that book. I'm so glad I reread it to know how much I love and appreciate it. It's one of those. I hope y'all read it ASAP. Let me know below if you've read it. Let me know if you've seen a movie. Let me know if you've seen the stage play. And let me know if you've done all three and how you feel about how they differ. But most importantly, tell me about the book. That's it for me, y'all. Really now. I am MsMalcolmHughes. And until next time, please remember to give time, to be kind to each other, and to have the best day of your life on purpose. And as I always say, sometimes books are sometimes better than people. Until next time, I am MsMalcolmHughes, one who believes that books are sometimes better than people. Take care, and I will see y'all in the next one.